Man, I really don't know if we're going to get anyone here at this time of night. Well, it's like almost 3 a.m. in the morning here in Morocco, and I thought it would be interesting to talk about so much news that's going on right now when it comes to the world of physical media. And if we get some people in to talk about that, then I'll definitely do that. So we'll see how it goes. And tonight, basically, I plan to do like a pre-tape and just do like a short, like 10 or 15 minute thing. But I've been like busy today. There was an issue with one of our kind of sliding glass doors, and it had to be taken out today. They're actually fixing that tomorrow. But today we're talking about physical media and specifically talking about the upcoming like Friday 13th, the potential Nightmare on Elm Streets that are uh, that are coming out, the Caligula controversy, and so much more. As we get some people in here, we'll let the chat go in the way that it wants to go. I'll even give you some like thoughts on the latest Terrifier, as well as looking at a couple like releases that I think are worth picking up. It's spooky season, and I've been trying to get as much done as I possibly can. Um, I think I've loaded up the back end of this month, so that's actually gonna be kind of cool. I got to make sure my cat doesn't get on the keyboard because she is very much on this area right here, right now. And I gotta kind of keep an eye on pics over there. You'll probably see her photobombing from behind. If you're here, make sure you let me know. Uh, Shout out, give a hi type thing. My name is Aaron. This is called a cinema, and we talk all things movie related here on the channel, physical media, and so much more. I'm actually intrigued about the Nightmare on Elm Streets that's coming out. I have seen reviews for the first one, and I thought we should talk about it because I think it's getting some backlash, particularly with uh, its colors, and I think a lot of people are forgetting the what I think is really important, which is the audio cues. Which, yeah, were some that's been missing since God, I'm not sure theatrical VHS maybe. There's been a ton of audio cues that have been missing things that like kind of parts of like of stingers and stuff that have just completely. Look at that! It looks like my light. It looks like my place is haunted here. Um, you see that? Holy crap, man! I gotta turn that light off over there because if I don't, this is like something of paranormal activity, right? Like I'm gonna say, I'll be right back, and then what happens? So we'll see. No, Didn't get the right lights. Nope, didn't. Now I do. They're a week more in the dark, so if I need to get my ring light out afterwards, I will. But for right now, I think we're pretty good. Actually, for spooky season, this isn't too bad. Anyhow, I wanted to look at some of the stuff that's coming out. I wanted to look at the Diabolique TVD stuff and speak on the controversy that's going on right now with the Caligula as well. I thought that'd be an interesting conversation, but just waiting to see if we get any people in for tonight's video. If we do, we will. If not, we'll just do like a quick overview talking about some stuff that's coming out. And I have to say, I was lucky enough to have guested onto a couple channels recently. I was on Reconnected last week. I was part of Ryan's the Disconnected channel, and it was a really great video. We sat down, we had a really good chat. I really enjoyed it. It was a pleasure being on there. I got to be on Subok Obsessed channel as is the guest for his 40th podcast episode talking about boutique labels. We talked Vinegar Syndrome. That was a ton of fun, and there's more stuff coming up this month as well. Uh, I did my own video with Cinema Dave, and that was so much fun. And next week, I'll have one coming up on thrifting with Maddie. So keep an eye out for that on this channel. If you're a Patreon member, then you've already seen the Maddie video, hopefully. And people that are, that are like have like early access to this. People are so quiet tonight. which drives me because I'm always I feed off your energy. So when it's super quiet and then it's like, "Oh, I'm not getting any energy here." It's kind of awkward. So let's look into the stuff that's coming out and chat about some of that. Recently, Rachel Talalay showed on an Instagram post a a picture of her next to a water tower, and she talked about the fact that she was working on a new remaster for Freddy's Dead, and that perked up a lot of ears in the industry because here's the thing: Freddy's Dead is probably my least favorite Nightmare on Elm Street film, next to the remake that truly was like atrocious. But it's fun. Like there's some fun to be had with Freddy's Dead. It's a weirdly constructed film, and it's definitely its own beast. But here's the thing: the fact that one of the least popular Nightmare on Elm Street films is being remastered and done for like a upcoming release means that it is definitely a certainty that all of Nightmare on Elm Street films are coming up for a release, and that's interesting because that means we can get the entirety of Nightmare on Elm Street on 4K. Uh, Now, who's doing it? We don't know if it's going to be through Warner Brothers, the ones who did it, like who did the recent Nightmare on Elm Street release, or if it's going to be done through through like a company like Arrow or Scream Factory, who were once upon a time tied to a box set release back in the Blu-ray days. I think that the fact that we're not just getting it, but we're getting it with director like supervision is where this really stands out. So, like, just think about that for a second, because one of the things that's been an issue for a long time has been some of the censorship, the cuts, especially within Part Five. Part Five, if you don't know, the Dream Child, a lot of cuts in that one. Some infamous cuts because we've seen them like through Fangoria and Gorezone, and we knew that they were filmed. They weren't just like shots or publicity stills. They're actually filmed for the movie itself. Stephen Hopkins directed Part Five, and it'll be interesting to see if we are finally going to get a complete and uncensored, uncut version of Part Five, which I would love to see actually, because I think Part Five is actually criminally underrated, and it has this kind of darker, almost Grimm's fairy tale type of storytelling and like kind of look to it. I'm really intrigued with that, and it's made me want to go out and pick up the one that said there, "Hey, Alan, welcome, man. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate that." Yeah, yeah, because I think it's a good thing to have like the entirety of Nightmare on Elm Street. If there's any like franchise that deserves to be put out on 4K, it's the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. It's a visual arresting franchise. It's something that kind of really stands out. It's one of the reasons that I was so frustrated when they put out the remake and they took, when you've got such a visually impressive franchise to like make an extremely boring one. Hey, Cinema Tax, welcome, man. If I could sleep ironically. Damn, I should have went early. I was going to do this about an hour earlier, but my cat had fallen asleep on me. I did see Joker too. Um, so yeah, I've seen a few of the films that are I guess that are sort of some are lauded and some are not so lauded. But I did get a chance to see that. I've gotten to see a few films recently. Most of the films I've been watching recently, though, I've been trying to keep up on some reviews that I'm doing, which means that a lot of stuff it's stuff that's like either coming out later on in the month or it's hitting the festival circuit, and I'm trying to get reviews done for it. I got a Shadowland coming up, and I got another one coming up actually really soon as well. I never bothered to do like a review on Joker 2 because it's been all over the place already, and I do think that it's getting like too much negativity on it. Because I don't think it's a perfect film, but I think it's not the way people are saying. I also got to look at Terrifier 3. Haven't got a chance to like go through all of it yet, but I got a cursory look at Terrifier 3, and I have rewatched Terrifier 2 recently. I think it will. I mean, like, it looks like they're going into really, really hard with cinema tax. Now, she also mentioned in that Instagram post that they were doing a brand new 3D, like, scan for the 3D portion of it as well. So, she said the 3D looks like you've never seen it look before, and that's in and of itself is pretty amazing. It seems really dark here. I do apologize. I can turn on the light again. It's just, I figured I would be off the screen a little bit anyway because we're going to look at the Criterion releases that are coming out as well, and we're going to talk about the Diabolique unobstructed view kind of Caligula thing as well for people that are interested in that, and just give my thoughts on that as well. Especially since I am probably one of the guys that first reviewed that version of Caligula, so I think I have the onus to actually talk about it, just because tis the right thing to do. I think we're looking at getting like uncut portions of this. See, I'm not sure if I can get why he did the sequel, um, and I don't think he had to be pressured too much. Todd Phillips to do the sequel. It's very different. I think what happened, and obviously I'm not Todd Phillips, uh, was that he made a film, and a portion of the audience that like related to that film was not related to it in the way that he was scared of. That like kind of made him like, oh, this isn't a is not this was a movie meant about mental health, and like this is not exactly where I want to go with this. So I think Joker 2 doubles down and tries to kind of course correct so that it's not a character that you're gonna well, never should have been like was never a character you're supposed to like relate to. And you try to fix that in the sequel. I haven't seen the substance yet. I really want to see that. Uh, that type of thing is my jam, man. I love, like, I grew up on like the Cronenberg stuff, and I love like Julia Ducournau's work. Titane's fantastic. Brandon Cronenberg as well. So, the substance looks like completely up my alley. It's the type that I tend to love to watch because I got my special edition upstairs of the Wonderful Film Society, which I'm sure Simitax you've seen, that I absolutely adore. And the fact that like when I got it, like Arrow Video put it out with the comic book like sequel was just so cool. Was so cool. It's one of those releases that I just love. I'm hoping that the substance makes its way into physical media fairly soon. I'm going to Canada in next month in November, and I'm there for about 3 weeks. So I'm hoping to pick up some releases while I'm there, some stuff that I need. I do want to get the. I see. I'm a massive fan of Alan of animation, so I definitely want to get that eventually. Hey there, Jordan. Welcome, man. It's been a while. So I will definitely be picking up the Captain Planet. I'm not sure I'm getting it right away. I want to see how it turns out, but I want to get that like the more recently announced the kind of the Looney Tunes Collector's Choice 4 pack that's coming out. I wouldn't mind having that one as well. Just aside that I'm disconnected. It's like satirical pop art Cronenberg. I gotta love that. Oh, yeah, that's for me. I got to listen to Julia Ducournau in conversation a couple years back, and beautiful woman, fascinating woman. And just so that type of like horror satire type is just um, something that I love. Remember, but in a very different light, and but more in the satirical, but not in the body horror sense of things. When Bodies came out, that was one of my favorite releases of the year that it came out in. I'm gonna go over the Criterion Collection announcements. I haven't looked at them yet myself. I haven't even looked at the stuff for that Disconnect put out yet. So I tried to stay off it for that reason. But what I'm gonna do is we're gonna check it out together, and we're gonna talk about the other things. So if you have any questions about movies you want to talk about, any of the other stuff you want to chat about, the announcements that we're gonna get like the rest of the New Line Jasons on 4K. It looks like they're coming from Arrow Video, so it's always a good thing. And we got me off the screen, but hopefully you can hear me okay. Well, society is like it would be one that I think would definitely inspire something like that. So it looks like we got okay, I did not know that. So let's look at the January titles. Okay. So we this has got to be 4K then. Jimbo Senhoro gets a finally gets a 4K release for this 4K release, which is really cool. I've been waiting for him to put out like a box set of all the Akira Kurosawa. I'm starting to get the feel that they're not going to do it. Did you? Yeah, perfect. Finally somebody that I can actually talk about it positively with. Um, i some people hated the ending, but I kind of loved it. Just gonna say, I don't think they would have ever been able to do that ending if they were still on good terms with Christopher Nolan. So, but I like the ending. Do you have anything new feature wise on here? Looks like it's just porting over all the other features, but it's new scans, 4K scans of the film, uncompressed monaural audio soundtracks, restored high definition digital transfers, present 235 aspect ratio. So pretty good there. All right, we're looking at another French New Wave one right here. And have I seen this one? I feel like I have, but I'd have to like rewatch it in order to. I love the look, the aesthetic, just the pure stark black and white aesthetic of this one here. They did years ago. Cinematheque Attacks. They put out a big Akira Kurosawa set on DVD. However, I think the putting something on DVD as in a big set is a lot more financially feasible than say like putting it out on 4K. Because I think if this would have been about a year or so ago, they could have probably put out Akira Kurosawa set on Blu-ray and people would have been satisfied. But if they put out a Akira Kurosawa set now, and like there's already been like complaints about the Criterion Closet set, because it's not all in 4K, right? Um, but if they put it out now, and people be like, a lot of people I think would be complaining, okay, why isn't this 4K? So I think we're gonna get maybe some sets or some like miniature sets or just some releases. I mean, if it's like attached to Cobra Kai, it's not too bad because I like the Cobra Kai series. JoJo Dance Your Life is calling. It's getting okay. I never expected this one to get a Criterion release. I love the cover. This is a gorgeous cover. Interview with Robert Townsend on there as well. Well, that's going to be interesting. So this is a stronger choice for me in the type of stuff that I like. So but that one's a problem. But okay, here's a favorite film of mine, and a longtime favorite of mine is Grifters. I really enjoy this film. John Cusack, Angelica Houston, Annette Bening are Annette Benings that are absolutely most beautiful in this film, in my opinion. Um, it's got Dolby Vision HDR here. Oh man, yeah, new interview with Annette Bening. I'm very intrigued by this one. This is one I would pick up. I do love this movie a lot. I've seen it several times. I remember watching this one on VHS back in the day. I watched it on DVD. Yeah, is this a 4K or Blu-ray? It's 4K. So they're gone pretty much. Criterion's pretty much gone all 4K at this point, right? Where except when 4K is not possible because we got Winchester 73 here, classic Jimmy Stewart. Dan Jury's in this one. I love Dan Jury. He's one of both my dad's and my grandfather's favorite Western actors and favorite actors in general, I think. And if you've ever seen Dan Jury, you know what I'm talking about. He's just so good at absolutely everything that he does. He's mind blowing with this stuff, and I love this cover too. It's just a gorgeous cover. Looks like we got new 4K. We got a new interview with Adam Pyron on the portrayal of Native Americans in the Western genre, which is actually kind of cool. My youngest daughter actually both my daughters started doing up a kind of like the ancestry thing for us. On my, like, we already have it on my mother's side, but I didn't have one for on my dad's side of things. And, I know on my mother's side, there's, like, down the line, we got, like, pretty strong, Native Canadian, like, aspect to us. I think on my father's side too, it was, like, English, French, and, I don't know, I mean, like, JT Walsh is so good in that movie. I'm a massive fan of his, and he is such an underrated actor. Um, I watched him recently, and, oh God, what was it? The it was a film with I wish this makes me sad. They say next door, they had this beautiful cat, and, they recently had a kid, and they think they leave the cat outside in the outside area, and he really should be inside. He's he's sad. But, yeah, we recently watched J.T. Walsh in a film, like, a young J.T. Walsh, and Kevin Bacon film. I can't remember the name right now. It's late at night, and it's really, like, kinda just escaping me, but it was such a good film. I think it released yeah, I think that will definitely get a release. It's a dark film, though. Um, it's it's a rough watch. Definitely something that, you gotta be in the right mood for. So it's yeah, bit of a toughie there, man. But apparently, people that have been getting the more recent Arrow videos have gotten, like, a postcard with Jason X on their, in there, so that's gonna be, interesting to see. I would love to see them get the Paramount Jasons, like, actually get the Friday 13s because those are the good ones. Those are the ones I want to see in 4K. Um, and hopefully, because this is, like, they got the New Line stuff. They got the, Michael Bay one. So it'd be very interesting to see them go and get the earlier Friday 13s because they are coming out, like, in North America, they're slowly coming out on 4K. And we looks like we're now gonna have the chance to get, like, all the Nightmare on Elm Streets in 4K as well. Like, they can I'll be honest, they don't have to put the remake in 4K. Yeah, it doesn't need it. I love Pleasantville. That's a great film. J.D. Walsh is such an underrated actor, and he was so good in everything he did. Um, he was like a character actor, kind of a German actor, and that's not taking anything away from him because did it so well that I, have to say he just blew me away, and he just had this understated aspect to him as well. Kind of like, he could be like the heartwarming, but he could be, like, super threatening as well. I was from a town less than an hour away. So I'm guessing you're gonna pick up that release in Jordan. Everyone in the area goes to for shopping. Jojo Dancer is a good film. It's good to see Richard Pryor stuff getting out there. Indicator recently, putting out the Richard Pryor, um, set with the Stir Crazy one and all the cool stuff. Unfortunately, couldn't get, like, Silver Streak, which was the only one of those that they couldn't put out due to, well, some crappy, like, legal reasons. But, it would've been nice because I love, Gene Wilder and Silver and Richard Pryor together. So it would've been nice to have them all there. There's so much coming out. I'm just trying to find if there's anything else that I need to show you guys right now. Um, because there's some stuff here that, ooh, so Diabolik just mentioned that the, new, cheaper FedEx international shipping rates. Well, let me check that out because, if they lower the shipping rates, that would be utterly fantastic because that has been an issue with me when it comes to, ordering from Diabolik is their shipping rates. I want to see what it says for Canada because that's where I get my stuff shipped to. I live in Morocco, but I would definitely get shipped to there. I'll do it like a mock order sometime later on today. Hey, Triple H, welcome, man. Actually, I really thought I'm not surprised actually. One of your favorites. That should be a cool release. I mean, it's a good month for Criterion releases, and as you can see, they're going strong into those 4Ks as well. It's like just we're getting like you know they're going all 4K. Like for a company that was one of the last to go 4K, it's interesting to see that they've gone more stronger into it than a lot of other companies. A lot of others are still going like hard on the Blu-ray. That's right. Oh, happy belated birthday! I'm pretty sure I said happy birthday on Facebook to you. So Inspired picked the final season of Walking Dead and Picard and the complete series of Ted Lasso. Good shows. I haven't watched much Picard. I'll be honest with you on that one. And I definitely haven't watched. I watched Walking Dead, but I haven't watched like the other, like the spin-off shows. I watched Fear the Walking Dead, but I never watched like Daryl Dixon or didn't watch like the stories, The Walking Dead. Triple H in my mind. Okay. I got to go with the original, even though like I'm not a massive John Wayne fan. I got to go with the John Wayne one. My better half, is like like she's not a John Wayne fan at all. And I guess, I should mention it because it's definitely a thing. Um, there has been some controversy over the Caligula release coming out from North America. Has anybody like seen or heard much on that yet? On the 4K for Caligula, the one that's being put out by Grindhouse and Unobstructed View. Because they put out a press release, and it was more than a bit controversial. Hey, Kubrick, welcome, man. So I thought what I should do is go over to the Diabolic's website and and kind of chat about it. All right, so let's bring it up here big on the screen. So this is Caligula the Ultimate Cut. Um, so as somebody that like watched a ton of this film when I was younger, I was a massive fan of Caligula, but it always felt like it was missing something. Something wasn't right. Something wasn't there. Um, when the Ultimate Cut came out, I was extremely excited, and I felt that there was a lot there that to talk about. So the company Unobstructed View that released the North American edition of Caligula uh, put out on the second disc was a theatrical cut of the film, and most people like thought and felt they were led to believe that the theatrical cut of the film would be the uncut version that played in most North American like theaters. But it looks like, and I mentioned this in my review actually when I did the physical release review of this one. If you guys got to check that out, that it wasn't the uncut edition of it, but it was a 150-minute cut of the film, and which is about 6 or 8 minutes, like of kind of the hardcore scenes that are missing because the original Caligula had like hardcore sequences that were like inserted into the film, mostly by Bob Guccione. And apparently, when they did their cut of the film, they when they put out the uncut version and they put out the extra cut, some people bought it thinking that the second cut of the film was going to be that uncut edition of the film. Some people even thought there's going to be a 200 minute cans cut of the film. I have spoke with Thomas on here on the channel. That 200-minute cans cut is a myth that never existed, but the wording on the release about Caligula could have been done better, I have to say. That being said, I do have the Blu-ray edition of the Caligula one right now. I don't have the 4K yet, and for all full transparency, that was sent to me for review purposes. It was one that I really wanted and I wanted it over what Umbrella had put out, basically because I wouldn't mind having the Umbrella load release as well, but I'm a massive comic book fan too. And their version of Caligula that's put out by an Obstructive View includes an exclusive commentary on it that's not on the other releases, and that wasn't mentioned in the public relations announcement from Unobstructed, and it wasn't mentioned from either. It should have been. It's a Grant Morrison, Thomas Negavan commentary, so it has the guy that did it along with comic book legend Grant Morrison, and I'm very much looking forward to that. Grant Morrison is a massive fan of McDowell, especially the Lindsay Anderson era of McDowell. So it'd be really interesting to see what he thinks of this, because this is, if you haven't seen it, the ultimate cut is really, for me, it's the ultimate cut of the film. So I do think it's worth owning this version of it, but I understand people that really wanted the X-rated version of it and thought that's what they were getting as a bonus, that are upset about that. But that, and it looks like the audio is good for the unobstructed view cut of it. And I think from what I've heard, what I've read, because I don't have the Umbrella one, that Umbrella is probably going to be putting out replacement discs, because audio on the Umbrella one, at least the one or two of the cuts isn't the right audio. So there's an issue right there. But people are going more towards the Umbrella one right now because of the fact that they feel that they're a little what's the word I want to use? They feel they're upset, and I understand it, because they felt like they were promised something, and then they were getting something else. And it's not an inexpensive release to pick up. These are here 4Ks, they're looking something like $60-$70, but it's I couldn't do a review of the film and of the disc and not talk about this afterwards. So this here is the exclusive part right here. How to Comment with Grant Morrison, and producer and reconstructionist Thomas Negavan, who if you haven't checked out my interview with him, that was a really good interview. At least I think it was. They have this is the 1980 150-minute theatrical version of the film, which I don't mind. Personally, I have the uncut version of it. I got the X-rated cut from Arrow years ago, and of course there's a bunch of new stuff here. There's a CD in that as well. But I was kind of wondering what your thoughts on it is. Will this, not having that cut, will that change your if you're gonna buy it, will that change did you already go out and buy the Umbrella edition? Did you change what you were gonna buy because of this? Are you a comic book geek like me and you're still gonna need this anyway? There's so many different things. I don't know about the Isle of Dogs yet, actually, but if I find out, I'll let you know. apparently the biggest issue for a lot of people was the fact that that they felt that the way that it was constructed, um, that wasn't exactly didn't come out right. And as a guy that like went to school for public relations and business, I'll be honest, it's not the best constructed. And I worked, I've spoke to Unobstructed View a few times. I spoke to a few of the guys there, um, and there's some amazing people that work there. Um, and it's a shame this was their first release. So I'm hoping it doesn't mar it too much because they are trying to like do for Canada what Diabolik DVD has done for the United States, and that's like uh bring releases to bring the boutique label releases to Canada without having us have to pay a fortune over there to get them from and, and right now, like if you live in the States, you're laughing when it comes to a lot of this stuff because there's Orbit, there's Diabolik DVD, that most a lot of the big companies, boutique labels are there in the US, or the get special breaks when it comes to the United States. So unobstructed view is kind of like all we have when it comes to getting a lot of these boutique labels at decent prices, and they have they have kind of special like distribution rights for a bunch of stuff. And the first release that they've worked on, this was with Giant, and I think it was God Draft House. I think it was Grant Draft House. Uh, the first one that the release is getting is the one that unfortunately gets mired in a bit of controversy. I could read out the entirety of the statement. If you want me to, I can do that, and you can give your thoughts on it. But was anybody here picking up the Caligula one? Anyway, did anybody already pick it up? Jordan, did you grab it? I'm kind of curious if Jordan or Kubrick or Triple H grabbed it. I know Alan's probably not Alan's thing. Um, but I kind of feel like Jordan probably would have grabbed it. That maybe Kubrick. Um, the fact that it's not the longest, well, it is longest version. The ultimate cut's 170 minutes, but that's not the X-rated cut. Will that change what you get? Because I got the Blu-ray edition of it at my house in Canada, at my place in Canada right now, at my mom's, and I it's got the right audio, so I don't have to wait for corrected discs to come out. So that's the thing, and I don't have to wait to get disc correction, and it's got the commentary I want, and I already have the uncut version of it. So if you don't have the uncut version, I can see this being an issue of like wanting that X-rated cut. Um, I consider it like the weak cut, but the ultimate cut is what you're gonna watch. No, you'll watch like the X-rated cut probably once, and because it's not exactly the best quality of film that's out there, and I like it. Right, I'm one of the defenders of it. But it's the ultimate cut that you're gonna, yeah, like Caligula. It's the one that's up there on the screen should be on your screen right there right now. So anyway, this is what they said, and I'll read it out. I'll read it quick, but hopefully it's giving an idea of what was said. And if you feel like, if yeah, so to the Diabolik DVD community, as president and owner of Unobstructed View, I feel the time is right to address concerns and complaints to Diabolik DVD regarding the provenance of our edit of the original version of Caligula and our release of Caligula the Ultimate Cut on Blu-ray and the upcoming 4K limited edition. Many of you inferred from our promotional material that we provided an uncut version of the film as a bonus feature. We have a legitimate theatrical cut of the original. Nowhere in our description is that we implied that ours was uncut. Well, that's not completely. I've seen announcements like that, but I'm not sure who put that out. However, we did apologize for the confusion. We will amend our digital media metadata to include the running time of the original feature, which is 150 minutes. On that note, I would like to take a minute to talk about what we felt we achieved here. In conjunction with Giant and Draft House, specifically with regards to the 4K limited edition coming at the end of the month, after over 30 years in the business, mostly in Canada, this is our first venture into 4K. are proud of what we are offering. In the middle of working on their theatrical release last spring, Giant took it upon themselves to source, in the absence of any available film stock at Penthouse, a print of the original from a Boston distributor that played the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Those who originally ran uh, during the film's original runs, the markings on the cans would indicate. Those who go back that far might remember that the community standards in that state back then were a little bit more puritanical, so to speak. So they went to restore the print to 4K at great expense for its singular use as a bonus feature for this release. And that's what it is, too. No matter what anybody else is going to tell you, it is a bonus film. It's a bonus feature. Um, we're buying Clearly the Ultimate Cut. We're not buying Clearly. I think we can all agree that that the that short is the list of studios that would go to the trouble of restoring a feature-length, full-length feature for a very limited edition. Further to that, those concerns with edited scenes can take comfort in the fact that the project was bounced out of two 4K manufacturing facilities for offensive content, ergo the postponed release delay. To that point, some of the deleted scenes can be seen in the accompanying featurette. One thing is for certain, after this initial run is gone, our version of the original will never appear on 4K again. Tender Bass did do some adult stuff eventually. Um, but he started out doing like more of the softcore stuff, some stuff like I Always Do It, and in the '90s, he did like Cheeky and like Paprika. But he did do some adult stuff. But I wouldn't consider him I wouldn't consider him an adult director though. Finally, if we pull back into a wider view, there's a tremendous value proposition in the 4K in the four disc set featuring an incredible slipcover, individual numbering in Roman numerals, provides tremendous background material to support the film that's on the cover of the sleeve. Click the ultimate cut. There's enough exclusive content, including an available contribution from producer Thomas Negavan, which is a commentary that I'm talking about, that which should be focused on, to give cinephiles an insightful look to the creative process that led to this landmark release. One reviewer mentioned that our edit of the original is a better guide track to longer versions because it begins the process of reconstituting the film. Whatever, you might have different opinions. In closing, we hope you purchase Clearly the Ultimate Cut from our friends at Diabolique DVD, and we'll remember your attention to detail on our next project. So that's what was said. That was said. Cheeky was recently put out. There's a whole bunch of stuff coming out, like Salon Kitty was put out on 4K. I think All Ladies Do It, which is my favorite Tinter Brass film. But Caligula is an interesting one in that I'll be honest, and I will say that the Bob Guccione version, which is the X-rated version, is the worst version of the film. Tinto Brass, like what he tried to do with it, he did his best. But I do think that the ultimate cut, the newer cut that was done with the brand new score and the and having like artwork, like have Dave McKean come in to do like an animated opening for the film as well to like kind of tie in the narrative. That's the best cut of the film. So if you've never seen Caligula and you watch Caligula the Ultimate Cut, you're going to see the best version of Caligula. I don't think that it's that effective. Uh, but it depends. I mean, if you you know went in there looking for that cut, and there's nothing wrong with like wanting say, okay, I want that cut that came out in theater, and you're getting a theater cut, but not the theater cut. That's a big difference for some people. So I can't say, well, no, you shouldn't be upset about it. I can understand. Like if you're a massive fan of this, and let's say you went out and you had say you were like me, you had the Arrow edition, the big 4K edition's coming out, right? So you're like, okay, I'm going to sell up. I'm going to go on eBay. I'm going to sell my Arrow edition. I'm going to buy this 4K release, and bam, I'm all set. And then you sell your 4K release and your earlier release, you're not set because the other version of it's not on the release that you might have pre-ordered. So it's understandable that some people are upset about it and feel that like some of the ways that I I think it's a good release, but I do have the bias of owning the release and probably buying this release actually though, because the Air release has a lot of bells and whistles, but with shelf space being the way shelf space is for me right now, I don't always go for the bells and whistles editions. Um, Again, it's film over format for me. So me buying the 4K edition of Caligula, the Ultimate Cut, is going to be because I already had the Blu-ray edition of it. Not for the won't even really be for the 4K part of it. It would be for the CD soundtrack because I really like the new soundtrack on Caligula. It did. I mean, like Bob Guccione, the editor of Penthouse, the guy that ran Penthouse, he went in after Tinto Brass. Tinto Brass did like there was nudity and stuff in Tinto Brass, but Bob Guccione put in like hardcore inserts, much like if you've seen any of the Black Emmanuel series, the with Laura Gemser. Like a lot of times it wouldn't be her, but they put in like inserts. And for the longest time, Sean, a lot of people were extremely upset that their that they'd act in a film and these uh and now the film that they acted in had all these X-rated scenes that they did not sign on for. So finally, Tom Snegavan comes and he puts out this release. He's never seen the film before. He's working with all the like around almost 100 hours of like footage, so much of it never used, and he puts together this film that makes the actors proud to be in the film. So that's pretty amazing. No standard Blu-ray for Elm Street. That's it. No standard Blu-ray for Elm Street, really? I was unaware of that, Dr. Giggles. Like your name, by the way. Why is discussing Nightmare on 4K even a thing? Well, because Nightmare, if there's any franchise that definitely needs the 4K, it's Nightmare. Because it's a visual franchise that really kind of benefits from that. And the fact that we got the first one out right now, and it looks like all the rest are coming out, it's a big deal. We've been waiting for a long time for Nightmare on Elm Street to get the releases that Friday 13th and Hellraiser and Phantasm's got. But it's been that one big franchise that hasn't got it. Hell, Hatchet's got a big Blu-ray steelbook set right now, and we're still on the old slim release of Nightmare on Elm Street, which misses a lot of the, you know, isn't as good quality and missing a lot of the audio cues. Well, yeah, it's not as graphic as I don't think it's graphic in that. It is in some ways, I guess, but it's different. There's a kind of brutal sequence in Caligula that's cut in a way in the ultimate cut that I'm really glad it's done, because the original cut of it really bothered me, which was it's part of a wedding scene, and if you know, you know. Yeah, a lot of audio cues missing. Now, right now, apparently, there's only one audio cue that is still missing from it, and that's the one because we got the audio cue back from like when Rod jumps out and kind of grabs Nancy to bring her to the because he's hiding it from the police, and there's some audio cues around there, including even like audio with Johnny Depp when he's like on the bed and he's like listening to music while he's watching like Miss Nude America. The only one that's still missing is and it's just a short cue when like Freddy's going through the door before he puts the noose around Rod. So having those audio cues back, it may seem like something like simple or not as big for some, but I think for me who hopes to see and like hear these films and they're as pure as possible. I'm a guy that likes vinyl too. What do you think of it? I got their last set. I got the Blu-ray like limited edition that they put the Black Maria, and I I was one of the people that actually kind of dug the set. I love the fact, Clay, that and I guess you can confirm this as well, that they had the VHS and the VHS cover and back that's used is a replica of the VHS cover that I saw when I was a kid. So when people ask, okay, how come it's not the big like oversized art like plastic case for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's not the one I saw. That's not the first one I saw when I bought Texas Chainsaw. When used to rent Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the one that you got in your set is the way Texas Chainsaw Massacre looked on VHS when I saw it. There was that like an oversized plastic one as well, but that came out a little bit later, I think. I think the chainsaw looks cool, by the way. So congratulations. You must be a massive Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan. Or that, or you just had like a lot of extra money like lying around. I am a fan. I'm a big fan. I think the 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the 1974 Black Christmas are two of the films that I would consider to be perfect films. And there's very few films that I'll put in like in like the perfect category. I don't mean perfect horror films. I mean like perfect films, and that like just the construction of them, the way that they're done, the way that they play out, the impact that they have, the way that they still work uh, in modern day. It's just incredible stuff. And we're lucky. I mean, look, we're at a time right now, guys, when we have this to complain about. Do you know how long it took us to get a lot of this stuff out on physical media? Like anything from like the Nintendo Brass stuff to any of this stuff. We complain about like we're so lucky. We're so lucky right now because it is a unique time like there's not as many you can't go to as many stores. Yeah, I don't get that. So Sandpiper Pictures, basically, they're some of the guys behind Olive that were behind Olive Films. Uh, not every release is a brand new, like 4K remaster, like loaded with features. Not every release has to be. People like for the longest time, Sleepaway Camp. Well, they're releasing 2 and 3. Number 1 is still out from from Scream Factory, but 2 and 3 for the longest time, Sean, as you know, were out of print. They went for up to $300. Uh, and there's certain features that they're not going to be able to port over because they just can't, because they were features that were done from Scream Factory. Sadly, I do not. But we're getting commentaries with these here. And the covers made me realize this like kind of like, and it's kind of the Olive thing where they kind of keep it like low key. Just to have the movies on Blu-ray, or to have them at all, really, it's incredible to get these sleepaway camp films. I think some people, um, I don't want to like disparage anybody, but w- everything doesn't need to be 4K. It's great when we get a 4K release, like we're looking at one right there right now. And I have the Blu-ray release of Caligula, the Ultimate Cut. The only reason for me to get the 4K release, for me personally, and this is me, like everybody's got their own beast when it comes to like curating their collection, is I want the soundtrack. Oh, you mean the Survivor one, or do you mean Return to Sleepaway Camp? Because there's two ways to take it, Clay. Because there's Survivor, which is kind of like maybe 15 minutes footage with like a lot of like other footage put in, right, from parts 2 and 3 that was on the the Red Cross looking box set. And there's Return to Sleepaway Camp, which was the original director coming back, and unfortunately, like making this movie that was insanely bad, which is a shame because Fliss Rose deserves better than that. Um, she really does, and I hope that eventually we'll get another Sleepaway Camp film. I don't know if they can. I mean, here's the thing. Um, for the longest time, for the longest time, Dr. Giggles, um, companies bitched about Sleepaway. They did so about Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 not doing so well, right? So they weren't going to be released, and the rights went. As far as I know, the rights went to Kino for a while, for at least the Blu-rays. And Kino were asked about it, and he said, "No, we're not going to put it Sleepaway Camp. We have no interest in it at all." So I know Sandpaper Pictures are putting him out on Blu-ray, and Kino is like being coy about like, "Hey, this might be coming out on 4K." Then it leads me to like ask a couple questions. Is if they're coming out in 4K, that's fantastic. Um, I have the Blu-rays. Would I buy them on 4K? Sleepaway Camp 2 got a theatrical release, but I think it's fairly limited. I don't know if Sleepaway Camp 3 even got one. If they did, it was a fairly limited theatrical release. And both those films shot definitely seem like they're more looking straight to DVD, right? At the time. So I don't know. I don't know how well, like, I thought the releases were fairly good. So I don't know how well 4K is going to like revolutionize Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3. It's not the price. No good. I say I hate that. I mean, like, I want as many to come out as possible. I'm not a person that's going to be like, okay, I don't want more to come out because I got it instead of print now. I'm the opposite of that. Yeah, as many people that can see a movie and own a movie as possible. That's important to me. Um, this would definitely lower. Like, I don't know if it lower the price of the limited edition like Scream Factory ones because some people are still gonna want that one that that slipcover from Scream Factory, and they're gonna want those extra features. So scalpers and people are gonna still be say, hey, you can buy this Sandpiper one, but it won't have those extra features. But people that really just want to watch this film and have another collection because they got part one, which is still very cheap to get from Scream Factory, by the way. Um, can easily get these and they look good. I thought I disagree with people saying that the art doesn't look good on Sandpipers 2 and 3. I actually really like it. And it does have that kind of old school look to it that I enjoy. There's been a lot of controversy, a lot of in in like physical media recently, stuff that's been talked about, and it's interesting like to come in and to actually chat about it and see what your guys' thoughts are on. That's why I wanted to bring up Caligula. That's why I wanted to talk to you guys about like the upcoming releases. That's why like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre coming up for $300, which Clay mentioned that he picked it up. There was controversy with that as well. Threesome. Oh yes, God, man. Counter Girls and so many Disney movies on Blue that only ever had DVDs. Mirror's Way. I love Mirror's Way, and it's a favorite of mine, by the way. Only ever had a very exclusive Blue in Australia. Is that a print? Yeah. When people complain about and they ask about, okay, when's this coming out in 4K? When's this coming out in 4K? When there's so many releases, guys, that have not yet gotten a Blu-ray release. Some haven't even gotten a DVD release. And to like be more concerned with something that has gotten a release, um, rather than like seeing stuff that hasn't gotten out there. It does have that some fade look. Like I got a couple like there's a few of them in my collection. A couple of them have that kind of look to it. It was kind of like a aesthetic choice that they went with. That's that's one of the reasons I realized, like, oh, this is olive. I reached out to Ryan, like, that's olive, right? Like, there's movies that like so much stuff, guys. Never even got like a minute hours. Another one, right? Remember that release and how hard that is to get. To complain that it doesn't have enough features when we're getting a Blu-ray release to film. I mean, it's slightly disingenuous, in my opinion. When there's so much out there that we still need to get, so many things that I still want to see come out. Early 2000, I think it's better than that. Actually, basically gleaming that uh, The second film, their theatrical cut of the film was a 150-minute cut. It wasn't the completely uncut version, so it was missing about 6 minutes, missing the hardcore inserts that it was that they got from a Boston, um, a Boston theatrical release that was actually completely remastered. Um, so they hope people would still pick up that release. Yes, 100%. I would say Rumpelstiltskin after the limited edition 4Ks will come. There's definitely probably a standard for that. I would be surprised if there wasn't. That being said, though, the the most expensive Rumpelstiltskin, and it's a bundle, right, is $80. The cheaper one is 45, and that's still bundled with some stuff, right, with posters and stuff like that. So for $45, like like go look at like what Scream Factory puts out, what Vinegar Syndrome puts out, what Severin puts out. Um, TerraVision's $45 bundle of Rumpelstiltskin is still like way cheaper than a lot of the stuff we get from Vinegar Syndrome and we get from like Severin and places like that. Sloppy Seconds releases. Are those like the black market stuff? So like I live in Morocco and I go to Spain, which is like gray market, which is not quite black market, but it's kind of like that gray area. Hence the gray market name. I've never been big on black market releases unless it's something that's never coming out. Something that got like was on a streaming service and it got like taken off. Something along the lines of I don't know what was the name of that show, like Willow the series. It only got a season, just got like hauled off, stuff like that. I would prefer like an actual physical release from a company if at all possible. Unfortunately, shows like Willow, shows like Brimstone, like things like that just never got releases because for me, like I could do that. Like I know I could put the work in and do off. Song says yeah, it's not a very good film. Like I know people want it just because it's like it's Disney. Um, but as a guy that grew up like at a time when that was out, it was one of my least favorite Disney films, and nothing to do with like the controversy or any of that stuff behind it. Just to do with the fact that, uh, aside from like the zippity doo part, um, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't the most exciting film. I think I am. I wasn't going to claiming for the 4K for Nightmare on Elm Street, but the second that they mentioned the audio cues are there, um, are back into it, and it looks like we got a good transfer. I know some people thought, okay, well, this is a little bit darker and things like that, but yeah, and it usually is when you go watch a movie in the theater, as opposed to like a Blu-ray or DVD copy, which brightens it up a bit sometimes. Um, some of those are a bit darker, but like the same thing happened when Halloween came out for the studio version before like the Scream Factory edition came out. People complained about the coloring on Halloween as well, and I thought it was good. I picked up the Scream Factory one because I wanted to have that edition as well. But I was okay with my other edition. Record store in Portland sells them. I'm surprised actually. On St. John Fingers and Radiance. Yeah, they probably don't know, are unaware. Just like kind of like turn that eye to stuff like that because Portland is Spain, so you can't get away with that stuff as much as easy there. I can see that being an issue. Like I want, but yeah, like I said, I don't need it. I'm film over format, so I don't need everything in 4K. But films that I think really kind of deserve it, and I think that'll be a benefit from it. I want in 4K, and that's Nightmare on Elm Street's one of those films. I grew up watching that stuff. I remember my dad was friends with a video store owner, and it was the so Nightmare on Elm Street was coming out on VHS, and I was coming to visit my dad. One of my rare times I got to visit my dad when I was a kid, because I didn't get to visit much when I was younger, unfortunately. Um, I had my childhood divorce, but my parents lived like way better lives after that. My stepmom is incredible, and my my mom's like with the guy now that they're been together for a while. It's kind of cool. Anyway, so yeah, so it was about like 2 days before it was supposed to come out, hit the street, like legit hit the street, and you could rent it. So because my dad had connections, he was able to get it 2 days early while I was there. So I was watching like Nightmare on Elm Street on VHS 2 days before it actually hit the street date, which was super cool for me back then. I was like, oh, this is super cool. I'm getting to see this movie before anybody else, except for people saw it in theater. And I've always been a fan. I love the Nightmare series. My oldest daughter, she is a massive fan. She got to watch Phantasm tonight. She's going through her 31 Days of Horror, and she hadn't seen Phantasm before. I thought she had, but she hadn't. And I knew, like, once she saw it, I was like, this, she's gonna fall in love with this movie. She loves this like stuff. Nightmare's her favorite series, and like, there's such an amazing, like, beautiful dreamscape to the Nightmare series. Man, I've kept this diabolic theater for so long. I do apologize. I did not mean to keep it up here like this long. Deaf Crocodile stuff. I really got to dive into their stuff. They got some great stuff here, guys. Massive fan of these guys, by the way. Trapped Ashes. I had the old. Is this what year this one come out? Is this what I'm thinking of, or is this another one? This is the newer one. Uh, No, no, it's 2006. So I did have an old DVD, like the really old DVD of this one. Oh, this is nice that this is actually getting a full release. These guys are really great, so I definitely recommend their stuff. They do lots of cool stuff, and their releases always look really unique and different. Oh God, you got to give one of these days, Kubrick. One day I'll see you somewhere and we'll watch a movie. I'll make you excited. I'll get you excited for it. Except for regular Blu-rays, Elm Street to fix the audio cues, take advantage of the new transfer. I'm surprised that they're not doing that. You think they would, because the DVD release from the DVD set, the big set, and both Blu-rays that have been released, the Infinite Film, the new one, all did not take advantage of that. That's for sure. Well, didn't take advantage of having like the audio cues. That's for sure and certain. New cheaper FedEx international shipping rates. I wonder how that is. This is one I'm very excited about. Wonder if any of you guys are. So Kino's putting out this classic Ghosts, which is five. I think it's five. Yeah, five like films, like ghost films, ghost stories came on TV. Five made for TV films. And these ones here haven't been seen since they initially came out. So I'm super stoked with that. Like, think like they're movies that have not been seen, haven't had a legit release, not on DVD, not on VHS, nowhere since they were first announced, since they first came out on TV. At least some of them. I don't know if all of them, but quite a few of them did. Gatekeeper, especially when younger generations make fun of what you like. I feel like that's another looking at my comic stuff, and people are like, got the Falcon coming out in 4K. Like, there's some really good releases coming out, guys. Mondo Macabro should have a sale next week. Their big sale. I'm pretty sure MVD Rewind is doing the sale right now. Oh, if you have one, if it's anybody else, that's the thing. Like, if Warner, that's why I'm hoping, Doctor Giggles, that we're gonna get a better release from like maybe a bigger, better, maybe the 4Ks for the other films won't be from Warner. I'm just surprised at the work that they're putting the work into it. Like, let's be, you know, give the devil their due. I did not expect Warner Brothers to put this work on more than T-shirt. There's a few different things there. Actually, I'll go over to it for you. Um, So the $80 edition has a ton, as you can see here, a ton of stuff. So included with the $80 edition is, of course, it has a rigid box art, slipcover, UHD, and Blu-ray, perfectly bound booklet with from writer director Mark Jones. He's like a whole bunch of people worked on that. There is a scrapbook, photo album. There's a script for Rumpelstiltskin, replica, replica of the original script from Mark Jones. There's the CD soundtrack to the score, 11 by 17 postcard, 4 by 6 sorry, 11 by 17 poster, 4 by 6 postcard, Ride or Die bumper sticker, Rumpelstiltskin brand sunglasses, Rumpy Baby bib, Rumpelstiltskin bookmark, Fuck With Me t-shirt. That's on the $80 release. On the $45 release, you get you get the film, slipcover, you get the booklet, and you get the CD, the poster, and the postcard. So you're missing the other booklet, you're missing the slipcover. No, sorry, not slipcover. You're missing the script. You're missing the other bonus things like the T-shirt and the. I think the script and the T-shirt and stuff like that are the are the are the bigger like big things that are there and the bib and all that stuff. So that's just for like $80 ones for super fans of that one. I think a lot of people are going to go under the $45 investment. I do have some more. I do. I got a bunch of comics. I don't have as many old ones as I used to. Um, but I do. Going back home now, for a couple weeks, I'm going to be buying some like collected editions, gleaming. So I'm going through my head like, do I want to buy omnibus? Do I want to get do I want to go for a compendium? Because I want to get the most bang for my buck, but I want to break my back doing it. Um, well, what happened, Clay, is there wasn't a box set announced per se. What was announced was Rachel Talalay, who did part six, put on her Instagram that she was in the midst of uh, remastering part six for physical media, and that there's a brand new 3D for the film that looks amazing. I'll see if I can actually bring up my phone here, actual announcement, so I can actually get you tell you exactly what was said, so that there's no mistaking. Oh, so initially she had put up the water tower, and she showed a picture of her working on the Freddy thing. Apparently, from what I can see right now, the comment that she'd placed on it before is taken down. So the studio must have told her that that they hadn't announced it yet, so she can't put it out yet. But yeah, initially it was on here that she was working on the director's uh, working on director's cut of Freddy's Dead for coming out for a physical media release with brand new 3D. Now the picture's there, but the second picture, which showed her on her computer working on Freddy's Dead, is no longer there, and it's just the water tower picture that's there. I was going to mention it a few days ago. I'm pretty sure Plant CHH did a video on it um, as well. So, like, he usually gets on this stuff pretty quick. So, um, Plant CHH, Disconnected, those guys are usually on this stuff like right away. But I'm thinking it's probably come from Warner. Look who did the first one. Because unless we're getting like, I don't know. I think the Scream Factory ship has sailed, and I would love to see it come from Arrow Video. That'd be amazing. Um, I could see it coming from Arrow because of the fact that Arrow's been working with New Line recently to get those with Clay with those new Fridays coming out. Like Friday, Jason X is coming. Jason versus Freddy's coming. Is what we already got the Platinum Dunes one, and so that I could see it being Arrow. I want it to be Arrow. I really do because I think if it's Arrow, we're going to get a really good release, like, and just something incredible. Can you imagine if it's Arrow? If Arrow Videos is putting together these Nightmare ones, and this is not me saying it is because I don't know. I have no, uh, this ones I don't have any background information on. I think video games has something to do with people not reading comics anymore than nice. I think overproducing comics to a market that was buying it just for speculation and not to read them, um, and over flooding the market had more to do with that than anything else. Um, Comics had a recent or at a massive surge in popularity during the 1990s, and it was on a bubble, much in the way like the real estate was on a bubble. And eventually, when the speculation and people are buying it for the wrong reason, um, not every first issue is going to be Amazing Spider-Man, right? Not every first issue is going to be like that action comic with Superman, but everybody's buying like it was. Like they're going to be able to take the first issue of like this comic and just this is their kids' college fund. But what actually was happening was like people that had did the same thing with trading cards, baseball trading cards, stuff like that, football, hockey, who had killed the trading card market. Um, Needed somewhere else to go, and at around that time, I think it was a comic that sold for fairly well, like a decent price. So people they started going to comics, and there were, of course, around the time events were happening. Death of Superman happened. Clone Saga happened with Spider Man. Nightfall happened with Batman. There's all these here. X Men were getting their ones onslaught and stuff like that. And so all of a sudden, there's a bunch of new comics coming out, and all of a sudden, there was a whole bunch of things coming up with like chromium covers and holographic covers and bagged with cards and all this stuff. And Wizard magazine was like big on around that time. So it was really just that exactly like everybody was buying issue one of every new comic that came out, thinking that like every issue was gonna be the big one. Uh but oh no, the kids were still there. Like kids were still like buying, but comics were changing. They're having this period of like just trying to really kind of get a I don't think that video games took if anything, like video games kept people like probably reading. I was one of those. I was a kid in the 90s, obviously. But I was young. I was just hit my 20s. But no, I mean, like we didn't get any like real kind of death of comics till later on. I think more recently, like digital killed a lot of like the that comics, and so did like a lot of the manga. Because if you're spending like the same price for one issue of a comic that's like 32 pages with ads, that you're paying for like a manga that's like up to 100 pages, and you're getting like a more complete story. It's the reason why you've seen so many people move towards the collected editions, whether it's the Olympic collection or an omnibus or compendium or the more recent stuff like the new DC ones that are coming out, that are kind of like done like manga. Those which are and they're done for extremely cheap. Uh, I think like $10 in the United States, between 10 and 13 in Canada. Those are pretty cool. So I think we're going to see a resurgence of this stuff. I think people, to an extent, are starting to see the folly. Is that too old timey of a word? Starting to see the inherent issues with streaming, and being the like going all in on it. Like what seeing basically that people are streaming and like they're not being seeing their shows. Their movies are disappearing. Like things are being like censored. Like music's being taken out, words being taken out of films, complete sections. Films are disappearing off of sites. They're not coming back onto other streaming sites. Some streaming sites are kind of like are buying up other streaming sites because they're not successful enough. Um, so all of a sudden, like maybe the reason you wanted to get like you got into streaming in the first place, and some people actually, they put the cart before the horse and went out and sold their entire like DVD, Blu-ray collection, and went out and like just grabbed their Netflix. Um, are starting to realize, oh, maybe I just kind of jumped the gun because the stuff that I wanted to get is not available anymore. Like Mill Creek is actually re-releasing King Queens, the complete series, which is fantastic because it's a good show, and it was for a while it was pretty expensive to get. So next month it got pushed back because no, it's still on track. It's on track for 'cause Blazer got pushed back. Ultimate Blazer got pushed back until so that's coming out the same month as King Queens. That's a good question, though, Gleaming. I love talking comics, so you got me to a geek spot there. So apologize if I rambled a bit. But yeah, I think people are starting to realize, like, oh, maybe the streaming thing wasn't like the incredible thing that we saw. Majority of Gen X were big into comics, and millennials big into video games. Well, it was both. I mean, like, because people would come to me. I almost set up a comic book shop, so I actually can talk about this a bit. In the like the early '90s. Um, but I was in like I was doing both. I was playing video games. I was reading comics, and most people were around that time period. I'm not sure your age, so I don't know. Like, that's the thing. Like, things go disappear. Like the perfect example, Clay, is the very first day I got. Uh, I had like a what was it called? One of those those trial things for a month from Netflix, and they had a bunch of like Stephen J. Canal shows, like those detective shows, like 21 Jump Street and Silk Stocking, stuff like that, right? Stuff I just like, just fun, cheesy stuff that I wanted to watch. And I went and I got Netflix, and the next day it was announced that all the Stephen J. Canal stuff was taken off. Like I think it went over to Amazon, something like that. Eventually, it didn't go to Amazon right away. It was actually a while before it went over there, but they lost the rights to all of it. So a bunch of the stuff that I initially got Netflix for in the beginning, because there was no Netflix originals at that point, and even Netflix originals get canceled too much. Didn't play much video games you did. See, like I'm a Gen Xer, and I'm a geek though. I was into all this stuff, man. But I kept like I was a big comic book guy growing up, so I pretty much kept my like I was opening a store, so I had to do a business plan, and I had to go into the what the what people were for what the whole aspect of it was. The people like watching what people going to buy comics. I had to prove, and had a good business plan. The viewers, right? The readers were still there. So I'm assuming talking about this right here. Wrong Turn 6. Yeah, this is the one that has the missing poster in it. I actually have all the Wrong Turns, including the new one, and I never bothered to bring them over anything but DVD. I didn't want the Blu-ray. Not unless something like massive comes out of them, because I started collecting them on DVD, and when I start collecting something in a format, I try to tend to keep it there. So now we both have the original. I actually could have got the Blu-ray of it too, but I just didn't bother to pick it up because I already had the DVD anyway. But I shan't keep you guys too long. Had a pretty good talk, I think. Talked about a lot of things. Like to surmise, like kind of to put things up there right now. The Beyond the Absolute stuff. I recommend checking that out. Like Absolute Batman looks really cool. Um, covers, yeah, I remember those covers, man. I remember the 5 X-Men covers and the collected stuff. It's a good time for comics right now. Like comics aren't doing as well as like say their other medium is, but collected editions comics are doing extremely well. Omnibuses are doing extremely well. Um, the newer editions are doing the new stuff that's coming out is doing so good. That it amazed me. The I didn't expect it. I did not expect these kind of smaller like books to do as well. But I gotta say they surprised the hell out of me, and I'm a big fan of DC's Compact Comics. I'm getting excited to pick some up. With that being said, I want to thank you all for coming in and joining me today. We talked about the Caligula release. We talked about Nightmare on Elm Street, the new Friday 13th that are coming out. We talked about like the physical media and the speculative bubble when it comes to comics. So if you're coming in late, then we did a whole bunch of stuff today, and I rambled a bit. So I do apologize for that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And I will. It's like 4:18 in the morning right here right now. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a wonderful day, and there's gonna be some cool stuff coming up. I'm working on a couple videos right now. Have a wonderful evening, guys. For me, I'm probably gonna stay up for the rest of the night because we're gonna be doing some stuff here in the morning, getting like that glass door fixed. But see you soon. My coffee pot's in the background, and that's gonna be used really soon now.